Today on Screen It or Stream It,
I Am Mother.
No, you're not. My mother has hair.
No, we're going to review the movie I Am Mother.
Oh, okay. For a second there, I thought you were the worst imposter ever. I Am Mother is not rated, but may fall into the PG-13 category for sci-fi peril, action, and violence.
It's the story of a mother raising a daughter in an underground facility.
Think of it like a backup should something ever cause mankind's extinction.
And in this case, the mother is a robot custodian of the facility that begins the process of raising the first member of the human race after such an event.
The unknown event has somehow contaminated the outside, making the duo, who go by mother and daughter, effectively trapped within the facility for years.
But just after the daughter's birthday, she discovers evidence that the outside may not be quite as toxic as she and mother had previously believed.
So, what do we think about this one?
Well, loved by critics, liked by audiences, we think I Am Mother, it's alright.
Alright, so we've got another sci-fi robot, twisty-turny. Well, it wasn't that twisty-turny, just a little.
They tried.
They tried, and, you know, sometimes I don't need twisty-turny. Sometimes just let it be a sweet story and it's fine.
Well, I think, I can't remember, I think you liked it the best out of all of us.
Barely.
Barely, I know, and I think I liked it the least. And my problem with this, I think, is actually the same problem that Harry had. Mm-hmm. It starts off and it's this low-budget sci-fi kind of a thriller. Something's wrong, right? But you don't know what's wrong, and actually nothing is wrong, which means something has to be wrong. And
everything's going too well.
It's this like kind of suspenseful, like teasing you something's going wrong.
I do like being teased,
and I do like that. And that's the first 2/3 of the movie, and that part is really good. And it's one girl, which she grows up, so it's actually like 4 different actresses or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's one girl who is daughter, and she's being raised by this robot mother. And no one has names; they're just daughter and mother.
Yeah, that was weird.
It's kind of weird. And mother is kind of the perfect mother, right? She is programmed to do. She's loving and caring and nurturing, which was a little bit off-putting because her voice was not robotic. I think they put a little reverb in it or something, but she just talked normal, and that was like super weird. But anyway, so that part with her interaction and you're waiting for this thing to happen, right? That part was great, but then it happens, and
dun, dun, dun.
And really, I understand that's the hardest part, right? You tease stuff, and when you're teasing stuff, it's up to your imagination to fill in all these possibilities of what it could be.
Yeah.
And then to deliver on what that was. And what it was wasn't bad.
No. But
to me, the movie kind of shifted gears when we went from thriller to like sci-fi action movie, and that part didn't work for me.
To me, what it was when the shoe dropped, I guess, and it is revealed. I've seen this before, many times, up to that point.
Done better in other places.
Yeah, okay, I could go with that. But I mean,
well, it went from what looked like a good low-budget sci-fi, one person in a room with a robot, which was a dude in a suit, and very well done suit.
Beautiful. What a workshop really did their.
Amazing.
Such a good job.
We were wondering how the CGI was so good.
Yeah, I assumed it was CGI because it didn't look like it could have been a person in a suit, but nope, it was a
But we went from this like low budget, sci-fi thriller thing to this big budget shoot 'em up special effects extravaganza blowing, and it doesn't. Like, the low budget works for the low budget movie. And I'm not saying the effects were bad or anything. I thought they did a really good job with the effects, and this was a first-time director, so maybe action is just not his thing. But to me, it just kind of fell apart when it got into the like action-y part. It just wasn't there. Now, I didn't hate the twist or the surprise. That didn't bother me. I was like, okay. Just the execution of it again felt very. We had this like different thing, and then the execution of that felt very samey and and. It went from this slow burn where everything was very deliberate and thought out to this like run, and stuff started happening conveniently, and everything's in the place where it needs to be, and it just, I don't know, it just, again, almost felt like 2 completely different movies.
Yeah, I could see that. I do actually already want to watch it again, mainly because even in hindsight, I know they dropped a bunch of clues as to what was going on, or at least that things were not right with just the information they were giving you. They were putting it right in front of you, but you didn't see it. And I just want to go count all of that because that would be really interesting to me.
And I don't know if we're talking about the same thing, but there were definitely some things I picked up on. And but that was great. That was the tease, right? That makes you kind of go, ooh, something is not quite right here. Like that's because the rational robot just begins to act in irrational ways, and then she tries to justify it and say it's rational. Yeah. It's like, I don't know. There was one thing. So the robot had this big like central eye, and then it had these two little eyes, and the big central eye was supposed to be an homage to Hal from 2001. But the two little eyes,
they were kind of expressioning.
Well, they were supposed to be an expression. They were in a smile, right? And they would kind of move. To me, though, that was the only reason those existed, was to try to give that thing some expression. And
they were sensors.
I don't know, but it was so weird because every time I saw them move, I'm just like, oh, they're trying to make it have an expression. It didn't look like it was. It didn't look like it was justifiable in the design of the robot would have that naturally, and it was really just trying to give it expression, and I didn't.
The only counter I could say to that is if it was a robot that's designed to interact with people, then they would maybe give it a reason or an ability to emote somewhat. So you. But is that the robot emoting, or is that someone reading the emotion off of it that's not really there? I don't know.
I do kind of wish they had given it a robotic voice. Of course, they did add to the creepiness.
Yeah.
Like, there's just something creepy about this human voice coming from the robot without any, like I said, it had some reverb or something, but it was very, very faint. Yeah. And it didn't have that synthetic, like, feel to it. And that, and then her interaction, because the girl is raised by the robot the entire time. That's her mother. That's all she's ever known.
Yep.
And so they have completely, like, human interaction. She acts up. Mother tries to get her to follow the straight and narrow, and...
Which, now that I think about it, they might have done that because that was Hal's voice as well. Not the same voice, but he had a calm, just even, no computer reverb or anything. It was just like a calming person's voice, and they did a similar thing with that. So maybe. So, what do you got for a recommendation if you don't want to watch I Am Mother, or if you want to watch something else similar along the same lines?
So, if you don't want to watch I Am Mother, I'm going to recommend another Netflix show, or it's not a Netflix show. It's on Netflix right now. You can go watch it, and that's Moon. And Moon is, again, a very low budget. I couldn't find a budget for I Am Mother.
Oh, I couldn't either. I looked.
I looked at several places. I don't think they released a budget. But Moon, I believe, was $2 million or $5 million. I think it was $5 million and under. And it is just a beautiful masterclass in acting and low budget. It's one guy on a space station or moon base, I guess, on the moon, and he's stuck there for a certain number of time, and he's basically going through the daily routines. But there's this great lack of sound, and there's this great tension that builds. And again, something has to go wrong because otherwise, why would it be there? And it's just so good. It was a really good show. You don't get the kind of mother thing there's somebody raising, but you do get that solitary station, and I think a better sci-fi than what I Am Mother was.
Well, I'm going to go with a big budget action thriller, Terminator 2, because even though it's very opposite in feel and it's got the explosions and all that stuff, it actually does have this relationship between a robot and a boy where the robot makes a better father than his actual father, and that's, kind of got that in common. But that's all our time. Thank you so much for watching Screen It or Stream It.
And remember, don't take your kids to the movies on Tuesday nights because that's when we go.